Hi, I'm Ernie Conover. It's time to hang the crown molding on this little wall cabinet. It's a finishing detail that'll really set it off and give it some pizzazz. Hanging crown molding is always a tough job, and today I'd like to share some secrets that'll make it go a lot easier. The most common use of crown molding is to provide a visual break or transition between the wall and the ceiling. It comes in three angles, the most common being 45 degrees, such as in this walnut piece right here. The other one is 38 degrees, and the complement of that angle, which would be 52 degrees, and would give a gentler break to the ceiling. You can generally tell the bottom from the top in that the bottom almost always has a cove molding running along. We have to make two kinds of miters in the hanging of crown molding. One is an outside corner, such as this, and the other is an inside corner. Inside corners are generally much more problematic than outside corners. The most common scheme for cutting miters in crown molding is to place it in your miter saw upside down, and then to depending on whether you're making an inside cut or an outside cut, slice through that like so. The problem is that it's hard to position the wood like this and get it perfect every time. This Crown King Jig from General eliminates most of this hassle of cutting crown. It is simply a little plastic jig that will hold your crown molding, and you cut it in a WYSIWYG fashion. That is, what you see is what you get, just like with computers. And it's set up for 45 degree moldings, and they're just held in here like this. This is a 52 degree molding, and this shim will make it 52 if you put it in this way. If you put it in that way, it's a 38 degree molding. So it covers the waterfront, and you simply put that molding in there and make the cuts as normal miter cuts. All left-hand pieces are cut on the left-hand side of the saw. All right-hand pieces are cut on the right-hand side of the saw. A way to check that you have the right shim in there, or lack thereof, is simply to put a level on this part, and as long as the saw is level, this little ledge here should also be level, like so. The first thing I've done here, I want to cover my dovetails, so I've scribed a belt line all the way around this cabinet that is level and covers the dovetails. The next thing I do is take a protractor and I actually measure this corner. Better to be lucky than good. I'm exactly 90 degrees, so half of that is 45. If I had something other than 90, I would divide that measurement in two, and that is what I would set my chop saw to. By placing my jig right flush like this with the edge of the chip guard, and making a little line so I could, right there on my fence, so I can put it back there each time, I have determined through a trial cut that this will cut about 1 3/16 inches from the end of the jig. So when I put this in here, all I had to do is line up my line down here on 1 3/16 inches and make the cut. And swinging over to our cabinet, we can see that we've got a swell fit here. To make the right-hand side miter, I've placed the box very carefully, and I've made myself a pencil mark by this mark here to know where to place the jig. And I will now simply trim this piece off. I will now take a ruler and measure 1 inch is where I need to put my measuring mark. Now, figure out where to cut is to simply lay our molding up like this, line everything up, get it on the belt line, just scratch the back of it. And there, we've got a perfect miter. And there we are as our finished molding. We can usually proof this by taking a hammer and sort of rubbing the corner a little and kind of driving the grain in that miter down. Close that up a little bit. Nice tight miters. Really added some pizzazz to that cabinet.